I'm Coach PJ Nestler, and I'm going to give you 3 of my favorite core exercises that I love to do with my BJJ athletes. Each of these exercises is going to train the core in a little bit different way, but it's exactly how you're going to need to use the muscles of your core to stabilize or to transfer power in BJJ. The first exercise we're going to do in this core series for BJJ is a high plank sandbag slide. I love this exercise because it's all about core stability, but I'm in a high plank position, so I'm driving pressure into the ground. You know, in BJJ, anytime you're playing any type of top game, it's all about keeping pressure down, being able to resist movements of your opponent, while also being able to move yourself. So this is going to be a great exercise because we're going to be creating stability, putting a lot of pressure down into the ground, but being able to move one hand at a time so that I can keep that stability and pressure and then have the use of this other arm to do whatever I want. So to get set up in this position here, all I'm going to do is get set up in a perfect push-up position. I want to have my hands right under my shoulders. I'm going to have my feet about shoulder width apart. So I'm in like a tabletop position. Now the key here is I want to maintain a straight line from the top of my head down through my heels and make sure that everything stays facing the floor. So as I move, nothing should move out of this plank position. I'm going to drive tension down into the ground. I'm pushing hard through my arms and I'm pushing hard through my feet. So I'm keeping this tension through the floor. So I'm already in a very tense position. If you try to push me side to side, I'm going to be really stable. Then from here, as I'm maintaining this tension, I'm going to lift one arm. So you see I shift some of my tension onto this hand. Now I'm stable through 3 points of contact. I take this arm, reach through. I'm going to slide the sandbag underneath me. Then I'm going to shift. So I'm constantly changing up how I'm applying this pressure down into the ground, alternating hands. So I have to shift that pressure from one side to the other without changing body position at all. So I'll usually do that for about 10 reps on each side. You can do it for time, but again, the key is you have to maintain that stable plank position, no turning of your hips or your body as you slide that sandbag underneath. You can also use a dumbbell, a plate, a kettlebell, anything you want to pull underneath and really just challenge that stable plank position. The second exercise in my core training series for BJJ is a hanging knee raise. I love this exercise because it trains the abdominals and the hip flexors, and it trains them in a position where you're pulling your knees in towards your chest. Very similar to how I'm trying to recover my guard, or if someone's trying to pass my guard and pushing my knee down, I need to have the strength in my hip flexors and my abs to be able to pull that knee in and hold that position. So the hanging knee raise is a great way to develop that strength and stability in order to resist those movements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set up on a pull-up bar or any type of place where I can hang overhead. I like to start with my legs out in front of me, so I'm already going to put tension on my abdominals by tucking my tailbone underneath me and keeping my toes up. From here, I'm going to drive my knees up towards my chest. I'm going to pause at the top and hold this position, and then as I come back down, I'm only going to come down until my feet stay out in front of me here. So my tailbone is still tucked underneath me, so I'm not letting my back bend and hang. I'm keeping that tension on my abs and my hip flexors the whole time. So I come up slow, pause and hold, and come back down. And I can do those more explosive. I can do them alternating legs. However you want to do them, there's a lot of variations. The other great part about it is it's killing my grip as I hang from this bar. So we're getting some grip endurance, and we're getting some great distraction forces at the shoulder that's great for shoulder health. So this is a big all-in-one exercise, but we're really going to crush those abdominals and hip flexors and build that strength to keep everything tucked in tight. The third exercise in our core training for BJJ series is going to be a partner-resisted dead bug. I love this exercise because now we're going to develop some core strength and stability laying down on your back. And it's all about resisting forces that I'm going to be putting onto Christina as she's down here. So it's very similar to me if I'm playing anything on my back and I'm trying to resist as my opponent is trying to move me in different positions. So I need to have the strength and stability to resist all those motions so that I can execute the moves that I'm going for. So what I'll have Christina do is lay down on her back here. She's going to start in a dead bug position, so that's going to be back nice and flat to the ground. Knees bent at 90 degrees, arms straight up from her chest. I like to have the ankles dorsiflexed, everything nice and lined up. Now I'm going to put a medicine ball. We could use a stability ball, anything I have that I can put between her knees and hands so she can create tension in between her hands and knees. So she's pushing down with her arms and she's driving her knees into the ball. She's trying to crush this ball. Her job is to maintain this nice stable position. My job is to move her out of this position. So she's going to be using all the muscles in her lats, her upper body to drive down, her hip flexors to drive her knees up, and her abdominals to keep that tension and crush that ball in between. So we'll do this for about a set time. Let's say we do for 20, 30 seconds. And I'm just going to be moving her around and she's going to be resisting any motion that I put on the ball. So ready?
Yep.
Go. So I'm going to be moving. I'm pulling her knees away from the ball. I'm pulling her arms. I'm trying to move the ball side to side. I'm pushing on her hips. Anything I can do to create this tension, twist. I want to try to pull things away so she has to resist all this motion. I can do short pushes. I can do longer where I'm really driving. Whatever I want to do, she has to react and then resist. So the goal here is I want Christina to be successful. I don't want to just push her all over the place and shake her because she's not going to develop the strength and stability that's going to actually transfer into anything. That's just me pushing her around. And she's obviously in a very compromised position on her back. So I want her to be successful. So I want to create just enough tension that I'm challenging these positions, but she's able to maintain a good, stable position. If she doesn't have a medicine ball or anything, I can just put her hands together, have her squeeze her knees together, and I'll just move these apart. So she has to still create that tension and that pressure, and I can pull her knees apart so she can squeeze with her groin, whatever I want to do to try to create all these different stressors that she has to overcome. The one other great part about this is it's a very dynamic environment. So instead of just being in a plank position where she's just holding stable, she has to fire different muscles at different times and react to what she feels. When she feels me do this, she has to then fire those muscles to stabilize, just like she would have to do if I was an opponent trying to impose my will on her. So you can use this one for about 15 to 30 seconds is the ideal time. After 30 seconds, you'll probably get pretty fatigued and you're going to get pretty sloppy. And then you can do a couple rounds of that one with a partner. Just make sure your partner knows how to resist so that it's challenging you the right way and not just pushing you around on the ground.